everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. Before I get any farther in this video, let's address the elephant in the room. I got a haircut, but since I pre-film all of my videos, you are going to see some videos of me with long hair in the future, so just keep that in mind. This is my current hair length as of the end of November, but you will be seeing some videos with long hair. Since I have my Christmas tree up and since this shirt is giving me festive vibes, I thought I might start off with a Christmas tag. Today I'm going to be in the Grinch Book Tag. If I can find the creator for this tag, I will link them down in the description below. This is a tag that has 10 questions based off of The Grinch. The Grinch is obviously the iconic book by Dr. Seuss. I'm not going to comment on Dr. Seuss as a person in this video because there has been some new things that have come to light about him. Say that, or some new analyses of his books. But The Grinch is an iconic story with an iconic character, so I thought it would be okay to do this tag. So the first question is, half of the lights on the Christmas tree are burnt out. Name a book / series / character that started out good but then went downhill. So I think that most of you know that Narnia and me don't really vibe very well. I didn't like the Narnia series. However, Narnia started out like decently strong. The first 2 books were 3-star reads for me, and it just went downhill and it got worse and worse and worse until I got to the final book where I was like so frustrated with the series that I almost just chucked the book out the window because it was so terrible. So I read Narnia in chronological order, which I know some people say you're supposed to read it publication order. I don't really understand what the drama about this is. So The Magician's Nephew was a fairly good start to the series. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was a fairly decent book, and the other ones just went... I mean, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader was fairly decent, but the other ones I was like, no, you went downhill really fast with this series. Also, I guess I would say some of the characters went downhill really fast too, specifically Susan. Like, she started out as this character that was, I wouldn't say entirely likable, but she was like a decent character, and then she just went boop. Right down, went straight downhill. She went from this decent character to this person who is doubting Aslan. So she's essentially someone who's doubting God, since this series is technically retelling the Bible in some sense. And then from there she goes to someone who's doubting God to someone who has completely denied God and doesn't get into heaven. So this is a series that started out pretty good and went downhill very, very fast. I would not recommend this series, but I would recommend the movies because I really enjoyed the movies, and I also feel that it's perfect to talk about Narnia in this video since Narnia gives such wonderful Christmas vibes. Next up is Annoying Great Aunt Sally. Name a book that you didn't enjoy but everyone else seems to love so it never goes away. I have a complicated relationship with the Mortal Instruments series. I really enjoyed the series when I first started reading it, and I finished reading it this year. Cat, you can't be playing with your tail while I'm filming. It's making too much noise. So I legitimately liked the first 5 books in the series. Yeah, it's a 6-book series. And I thought they were fairly decent. Like, there was some stuff that made me really uncomfortable in it. However, once it came to City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, this one I did not like. But I see this one everywhere. I see people talk about it nonstop. And I was surprised because I was so confused why this book felt so different to me and why it was so boring in my opinion that I actually went to Goodreads and I started reading the reviews while I was in the middle of this book, because this is a freaking long book and I was bored out of my mind. I was reading the reviews and people were like, I didn't like the rest of the series but I liked the final book. I was like, I am the opposite. This book feels like a completely different book than the rest of the series, okay? Ugh, I'm so frustrated with this book. I do have a full review up if you want to hear like my more in-depth thoughts on it, but those were basically my summarized thoughts of this book and my issues with this book. Number 3, your pets keep knocking over the Christmas decoration. Name a character that kept messing things up for everyone else. You can't pick a villain. I finished a book in the series last night, so this is a very, very easy choice for me. I'm going with Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. And the character I'm choosing from Twilight is Bella Swan. Bella Swan ruins things for everyone, especially New Moon. I feel like New Moon was the worst when she got a paper cut that literally caused the Cullens to have to leave because they thought they could protect her, and it was just like a freaking paper cut, and she's just so dramatic that she caused a near-death experience from a paper cut in the 2nd book, and in this book she's just messing things up, making it hard for everyone. Like, Bella Swan is such a like dramatic, awkward, clumsy person who makes things harder for everyone else. But I really like this series. I just don't like Bella. But the series wouldn't be the same without Bella, so I'm very torn. I just can't take this series seriously because Bella is just so overdramatic. Number 4, you hear your parents putting out the presents and learn Santa isn't real. Name a book you were spoiled for. This bad boy, and I'm mad because it wasn't a spoiler on social media, it was a spoiler because I was stupid. So The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the Hunger Games prequel, and there's a character named Janice in here, and he was so awesome, and I wanted to see fan art of him because I wanted to see if I was picturing him correctly, and just because I loved him so much. Like, I wanted just to spend time with him when I wasn't reading the book, basically. So I looked up fan art, and right there was a big spoiler about what happens to him. I won't spoil what exactly it is, but I was very, very frustrated with myself. It was completely my fault. It wasn't like someone spoiled it for me, but I did get spoiled because I looked up fan art of my favorite character. So, lesson learned, don't look up any sort of fan art for any series until after you're done with the series or until after you're done with the book. That was a mess. That happened earlier this year, I think in the summer, and I'm still mad at myself. Number 5, it's freezing outside. Name a main character you just couldn't connect with. I couldn't connect with the main character in the Just Little series. This is a series of novellas. I don't even remember the main character's name off the top of my head. I read the first 4 books because I got a bind up collection of the first 4. It was free on the iBooks store. However, I couldn't relate to anything about her. I feel like she kept putting herself in danger, and she was pining over and starting a relationship with a man who was extremely older than her, and she was a high schooler, and she just felt so just a stereotypical girl who's just falling over a guy and loses sight of everything in life because she finds this guy that she loves. So I really could not connect to her, and I'm not even gonna bother looking up her name because I really despise her. Number 6, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You, and it's giving you anti-romantic feelings. Name a couple you couldn't stand. So the couple that I'm choosing for this one is Harry and Jenny from the Harry Potter series. I'm holding up Half-Blood Prince since this is the one where their relationship becomes canon, it starts happening. I couldn't stand them in Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows, which are the main books that they're in, and I was very neutral on them when I was reading Cursed Child, but then once I saw Cursed Child the play, I actually found that I didn't mind them as much. I think just when they're very young and immature and with each other, I couldn't stand them, but after they mature, I can stand them much better, and I can see their potential for a couple. But I am going to be choosing this couple for this question since I couldn't stand them in the main series. Ugh. It sucks because it's the main couple, but I just didn't vibe with them at all. My camera might die. I'm really hoping that it lasts through the rest of this video. Number 7, that scratchy homemade wool sweater you got for Christmas years ago but won't get rid of. Show some books that have been sitting on your shelves for a while and you weren't motivated to read, but you don't have the heart to get rid of them. So I could basically show you my whole bookshelf for this because I don't like to get rid of books, and I can't get the heart to get rid of books unless I've read the books. But I've just chosen 3 really quickly. So the first one is Tropic of Kansas by Christopher Brown. So I am very concerned that this book will be making a political statement that I despise, but I'm not sure. I got this book because I got it for free, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm not gonna get rid of it. And then Star Wars, The Mandalorian Armor, which is book 1 of the Bounty Hunter Wars by K.W. Jeter. I don't like the bounty hunters, I don't like the Mandalorians, but I got this because it was Star Wars, and so I don't have the heart to get rid of it. I do really like Star Wars, I just not am into Mandalorians and all of the armor and stuff. That's not the part of Star Wars that I like. And then the third one I'm going to show is Runaway Twin by Peg Carrot. I am not really interested in this book anymore, but Peg Carrot was one of my favorite authors when I was growing up, and so I just feel like I can't get rid of this book until I read it, partly because of my philosophy of not getting rid of books until I read it, and partly because it's by Peg Carrot. It's by an author that I really enjoyed, so I feel like I have to read this book. Number 8, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Name a character death you are still mad about. Warn people for spoilers. You can also use TV or movie deaths. I'm going to be doing a TV death, so spoiler for Squid Game. I'm sure you can just skip ahead 20 seconds. I'm just going to mention it very briefly. So I am very mad about Ali's death from Squid Game. I'm very upset that he died. He was the most redeemable character, I felt like, out of all the ones there. I loved him so much. He was so sweet and innocent. I felt like he shouldn't have been there with everyone else. I get why he was in debt, and I get that he needed that money, but I was so heartbroken when he died, especially the way that he died, that he was tricked. So I'm very upset about his death. Number 9, the malls are overly crowded with holiday shoppers. Name a series that has too many books in it / went on too long. For this, I'm not going to choose one specific series, but I am going to say that most manga series feel way too long. I really enjoy reading manga, but after they get to around 20 books, I start to get very bored of the series, and it feels like it's gone on way too long, and they're fairly expensive, and it's hard to find them used, I find. And so it's frustrating because I'm spending $8 or $9 per volume, and then when you get to the 20s, it's like you've spent a ton of money on this series. Like, what is 8 times 20? 160 if it's a 20 volume series, but sometimes these series are much longer. Sometimes they go into the 50s and the hundreds, and so I enjoy manga, but I read them sparingly and I spread out when I read them because I'm frustrated with how long they are, because they feel like they go on way too long sometimes. I wish they would all be about the Sailor Moon length, because I felt like Sailor Moon was a very good length where it kept my attention the whole time through. It was a fairly long series, but it didn't go so long that I felt like it dragged out the story or anything like that. And number 10, The Grinch. Name a main character you hate, no villains again. So I recently read The Shadow in the Glass by J.J.A. Harwood. This is a book that I had very high hopes for. However, I really didn't like this book, and I especially did not like the main character, Eleanor. So Eleanor is also called Ella, so I'm just going to call her Ella for when I talk about this book. So Ella is a character that felt very bland at first, and then the more the story kept going on, the more I got frustrated, because it felt like she just wanted a good future for herself, and occasionally she'd be like, oh, I feel like I should be nice and try and help out other people, but at the end of the day she was just all in it for herself, and she did really bad and immoral things just to get what she wanted and to get the future that she desired, and she felt like she deserved everything in the world and more, and I was like, well, you are in a bad situation, you do deserve more than what you have, but I felt like she didn't deserve the whole world or anything like that. And this book was just a mess of her making poor decisions, it felt like. This is a dark Cinderella retelling, so Ella is like Cinderella, and Ella meets this like creepy lady with like these black eyes, and this lady grants her some wishes to get anything she wants, but in exchange, after she uses all her wishes, she has to give her soul to this lady, and that alone is like a deal that seems too good to be true, and she didn't like use common sense, and I just hated Ella so much. Like, I hated most of the characters in this book, but Ella in particular, I was like, can you please just like shut up? Just like go live in a cabin in the woods by yourself. You know, I was like very frustrated with her, and I felt like she ruined so many people's lives throughout this whole entire book. Ugh. So yeah, Ella is definitely my answer for this one. I could rant about her and this book for days. I hated this book so much. So that is all for this Grinch book tag. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. All of my other social media will be linked down in the description below, including my BookTok, Bookstagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. My next video will be coming out this Friday. I hope all of you stick around to watch it, and until next time, goodbye!